Okay, this is attempt number 10. Trying to make this video. Every time I've tried to make it before, a kid has barged into the room or wherever I'm at, or my husband finds me in the pantry when I'm trying to film it and hits me with the door. When you're a mom of six, 6 and under, that there's no sacred space in a house. So today, I just kind of want to give you an update on what's been going on with the Fulbright family. You could possibly hear screaming in the background. I have a window open so that I can see and hear my kids that are playing outside. And my lovely Christmas tree in the back. And my favorite thing is in the morning, these disco balls catch all the light and there's like little dots everywhere all over the room. You can kind of see some of them in the background. I am in this like weird headspace because so on Halloween we got a phone call that a kid that has previously stayed with us was going into what they call CWAP, which is child without placement. And they were like, hey, do you want to take him back? And we were like, hey, we're at capacity. But the first little baby girl we knew that she was leaving the next week to go to her kinship placement. We were like, we think she's leaving Tuesday or Wednesday. So we had our agency submit for placement of him. And then on Wednesday, when little girl left, they were like, well, we actually found a effective kinship placement for him. And basically that's like somebody that doesn't have to be necessarily directly related to him. And so that's been, well over a month now. And the day before, so then the next day, we got baby girl number 2. So we were then at capacity again. So the state of Texas, your capacity is 6 kids. So we're at 6 kids. We've got 4 fosters and then Xander and Phoenix. And so we got a call the day before Thanksgiving that the fictive kinship placement wasn't working out. And I don't like to ever assume things about people. I know that when you're in the position that we are in, some kids flow with your family and some kids don't. And it can be hard to navigate that journey if you're not used to it. And it's just kind of, one of those things where they're not biologically yours, and it can be hard to understand them and hard to understand their trauma and help them, work through that and unpack that. And especially when it's he's not school age. So it's like one of those things where, it can be hard with a toddler to understand their basic needs, because what if they can't communicate with you, or, they're scared, or they've, different things. So they were like, hey, can you take him? And I was like, we're at capacity. So there is a waiver that you can get, but we don't qualify for the waiver to increase our capacity. So we were just trying to work it out with them, because I knew that when he went back to live with his sisters, that we were going to see him again. I didn't think the situation was right for him or for them. And I kept telling people, I think he needs to be the only child in a home. I think he needs to be the youngest kid. I think, there's just a lot of shared trauma there. And unfortunately, in cases, the foster parents don't I mean, they care, but they don't, you know, kind of thing. And so we knew we were moving, and mom was really trying to get her life together, and they wanted him to be back with his sisters, closer to where mom lives, so transportation for visitation could be easier and, you know, whatnot. So we were like, okay, you know, this is the ultimate goal, right? Reunification. So we want him to be in a place where he can do that. And so we, you know, at the beginning of July, we're like, you know, we love you. And I made him a scrapbook, you know, of all these pictures and things that we got to do together, in hopes that he would get to keep it with them. And, you know, but I knew that we would see him again. And I told all my family, I was like, this isn't the last time we're going to see him. And so when we got that first phone call, I was like, I knew it, you know, and then it didn't pan out. So I was like, okay, well, maybe this, you know, is all working out for the best. And then we got the second phone call, and I just was like, we got to do whatever we need to do in order to get this kid with us, because now he's been moved several times in a year. And this is just layer after layer after layer of new trauma for this kid. And we want him to be with us until he's able to be adopted. And so what do we got to do? So they talked to the kinship placement, and they were like, we can agree to keep him, you know, until they're ready to take him in, basically. So that set of pajamas for the little boy will be for him, because we are hoping that he will be here next week. Our second baby girl is going to go to a kinship placement as well. And so the timing just kind of lines up again. And we are praying and hopeful that this will be a smoother transition for him. You know, I was telling Ian, my husband, last night that, you know, we can't expect him to be the same kid. And because he hasn't been with us for the past 5 months, essentially. And so it's going to be a hard thing for him, even though I think he will be excited to see us, and Xander and Phoenix. I think it'll still, you know, he's going to have to work through some things again. And that makes me even more sad, you know, because I feel like, and I know this isn't true necessarily, but I feel like I failed him in not fighting harder for him to be where he needed to be. But at the end of the day, like, things work out the way that they're supposed to, and I can only do what I can do, and I can't, like, my hands are tied in certain situations. You know, I'm not the state. I can't just say, I'm not giving him back. That is illegal, so I can't do that. But I also just, my heart just aches for him and for the thousands of other kids that are in care. That, you know, don't get a say. And it's just hard, you know, because these kids didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask for the parents that they got, and they didn't ask to be removed from those parents and experience the trauma that they did with those parents. They didn't ask to be a foster kid. So it's just tough, and you have to remember that, you know, we can't take everybody in, because we don't have the ability to do that. But if I could, I would. I would say yes to every kid. I honestly don't think we've ever said no. I think the only time we said no to a placement is when we were moving. and that person was, it just didn't line up timing wise, and our house wasn't efficient. She was in a wheelchair, and like it wouldn't have fit through the door, and you know, it was just going to be a bit of a thing. And so we we've just never been those type of people that want, you know, that I'm not speaking ill of anybody who has said no. You do have to know your own limits. But I also know that we've said yes so many times and it's all fallen through. And so I just feel like God gives you who you're supposed to have, regardless if you say yes or no or maybe or whatever. If they're supposed to be with you, they'll be with you. So that's where we're kind of at with this kiddo. But you know, we have already prepared as a family for the possibility. So he has his stocking. He has his Christmas Day outfit. Got Christmas pajamas for him. He's going to be sharing a room with Xander and Phoenix. And I got him the same Christmas bedding as they have so that it'll all match. And, I just want him to remember, that he is special and loved and that we missed him, and we're so happy that he's here. And but yeah, it's like a bittersweet thing, because you have to acknowledge the reason why he's here is hard. So but we're excited. I'm excited to see him. I can't wait to give him a hug, and I know he's gonna require a lot of maternal attention. Sorry. And so we're just excited, and excited for baby girl to be with her family. And Ian has said, moving forward, he doesn't want to get any more little bitty babies because I don't really get a lot of sleep. So it just gets kind of hard. He was like, can we just do school age from now, like 4 to 10? So this will be nice. We won't have, but it'll also be sad too, because, I can't have my own kids. And so I always love having, the babies, because it, I think it helps heal that part of my heart, that still aches for that. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a couple of months. I'm so excited for Christmas. We probably went a little overboard on Christmas presents, but you never know, what Christmas was like before or what it will be like again. And I'm gonna have to cut this video super short because mom life. I love you guys. Stay tuned for the next update. Bye.